when you get on the trails, you can read about them, but you don't know what to expect.
You can take a photo of it, but you can't explain to people what you're actually seeing without them seeing it too.
By the time you get to the end of the hike, you know, it looks like you're in a fairy tale.
It's hard to put into words the experience that you'll have coming here. It's kind of a once in a lifetime thing.
Three words I would use to describe Northern Ireland would definitely be
Breathtaking,
mystical,
Adventurous.
So some of my favorite things about traveling is, one, the butterflies that you get in your stomach.
The exposure to meeting new cultures, new faces, new people.
The people of Northern Ireland, I would definitely say they're very giving.
It really feels like you're welcomed into the culture. You don't feel like an outcast.
People want to know the real you.
The longer you're here, the more you just kind of get used to the rain, you embrace it.
You can tell that there's age and tradition.
Every little nook and cranny is, more interesting than the last.
Stepping off the plane at George Best Airport, it was kind of awe-inspiring. Just seeing everything in real life.
Northern Ireland is everything that I thought it would be and more. I've experienced so much in my time here and got to meet so many people and changed a lot, so I love it. It's gonna make me cry. I'm sorry.
Welcome and thank you for joining us for this conversation about studying in Northern Ireland, hosted by the British Council Northern Ireland. My name is Elizabeth Tresnan and I'm the Study UK Interim Director at the British Council. I hope you enjoyed our opening video, which was a recent collaboration between British Council Northern Ireland, Queen's University Belfast and Ulster University. We'll hear more about it in a moment. We're delighted to welcome so many of you today from across North America. Today we'll be taking a deep dive into what it's like to be a student in Northern Ireland, and we'll be learning a bit more about Ulster University and Queen's University Belfast. I'm delighted to welcome our panel today, including students and staff from both universities, and in a moment I'll be asking each of them to introduce themselves before we move to questions. We would encourage you all to join our conversation today by commenting or asking questions in the chat function or by posting on social media. Remember to use the hashtag Study in Northern Ireland, and I will ask my colleagues to drop in the chat function details of how to follow us on social media. A little bit more about today's event. It will be recorded and a video will be available in the next few weeks on the British Council Northern Ireland website. There are closed caption subtitles available too, so you can read what the speakers are saying. They are available in English, Arabic, French, German, Italian, Portuguese and Spanish. There is a small button with CC on the bottom of the screen. If you click that, you can choose your language. It is computer generated, so it might not be completely accurate, and we do apologise if there are translation mistakes. We'll start by asking our panellists some questions to introduce the topic before moving to an open conversation about life as a student in Northern Ireland, and let's hope we learn lots today. There'll be opportunity during today's session for you to post questions and comments to our panel. If you have a question or comment, please type it into the Q&A box on the right-hand side of the screen. If it is for a specific panellist, just add their name. We won't publish repeated questions and comments. Instead, if you see a post that you like or a question you also want to ask, then use the thumbs up button. This helps us identify popular themes to put to the panel. And for those of you who submitted questions when you registered, we'd also try to get through as many of these as we can today. So without further ado, let's meet our panel. Okay, so I'm going to start with Peter and Johnny from Queen's and Ulster respectively. So Peter, would you mind just introducing yourselves to the audience today? Thank you.
Hi everybody, my name is Peter Brimstone and I'm the International Officer for North America at Queen's University Belfast.
Okay, thanks Peter, and over to you now, Johnny.
Hi everybody, so I'm Johnny Hill. I'm the Regional Manager at Ulster University and I do a very similar role to Peter, but at Ulster.
Brilliant, thank you both. And over to our main stars today. So we've got 4 student panellists. We've got Debbie, Daniel, Virginia and Nicola. So can we start with you first, Demi? Would you mind introducing yourselves? If you could tell our audience your name, your course, year of study and where in North America you are from.
Am I off mute?
No, you're definitely off mute. Yes, we can hear you.
Awesome. Okay. So I'm Demi. My course of study, I am a postgraduate law student here. So I'm actually working on my Juris Doctorate degree here at Queen's University, Belfast. I am in my 2nd year, so just finished up the, this 2nd or 3rd semester kind of thing, 1st semester in the 1st year. And then I'm sorry, what was the last question?
And where in North America are you from?
And then I'm originally from Canton, Ohio.
Wow. Okay, that's brilliant. Thank you, Demi. Can we move now to Daniel? Similar questions, Daniel, if you could introduce yourselves to the audience. Thank you.
Yeah, there we go. All right. Yeah, so I'm Daniel Welker, currently studying at Ulster University. I completed an undergrad this past year, or this past summer, in culinary arts management, and am now working on a business development and innovation master's. The course is 1 year, so I'm kind of at the beginning of that, and I'm from Phoenix, Arizona.
Brilliant. Thanks very much, Daniel. That's great. Okay, can we move now to Virginia? Thank you, Virginia. There you are. Do you want to take yourself off mute?
Hi everyone.
Nicola, okay, we'll go with you first then, okay.
Hi there, my name is Nicola. I study at Queen's University and I'm in my 4th year of medicine, so I'm in my clinical year. So I go out into the hospitals and I'm originally from Vancouver, Canada.
Oh wow, that's great. Thank you. Thanks, Nicola. And then finally, Virginia. Okay, we've still lost her. Okay, we'll come back to Virginia hopefully as we go through the questions. So that's our panelist. So I think what we'll do first, if we go start talking to the universities first. So Peter, I hope you don't mind, but I'm going to kick start with you. So congratulations to all involved in the fantastic video. Can you tell us a bit about it and what you hope it will achieve?
Yeah, absolutely. So myself and Johnny, our roles at both Queen's and Ulster is to go out and I guess tell the world about Northern Ireland, about our own institutions, about our universities, but really about this little part of the world. And I think it's fair to say there's a lot of students in the US and Canada know the UK as an education destination or as a vacation destination. They know it's a fantastic place to visit, but I think a lot of people probably just think of London, of Buckingham Palace, sort of the crown jewels, all that kind of thing, and they're not really sure what life looks like in the rest of the United Kingdom. They know it's there, but can they really see it? So what we wanted to do was to just bring it to life a little bit. And you go on university websites, there's loads of great information about courses you can study, about different subjects, about the facilities and all this kind of thing, but maybe not so much about life. And it's a huge part of everybody's life. I remember fondly my own university years, and it's all the other things that you do around the time that you're studying. And we just wanted to bring that to life a little bit for Northern Ireland and to showcase that. So we basically just decided to grab a bunch of these guys, a bunch of our students, and bring them out for a few days around Northern Ireland and just do the things that students do while they're here, and then capture it and show it to the world. So that was kind of the idea, and hopefully that's come across in the video.
Brilliant. No, I think it's definitely achieved that. I mean, it really does bring it to life, and I think that's what students can understand from it. That I think, as you say, you can go onto a website and look for different things, but it's that opportunity to see it in action, isn't it? And I think you've definitely achieved that, Peter. It's brilliant. Excellent. Thank you. Johnny, over to you now. Could you tell us a bit more about the importance of having students from North America in Northern Ireland?
Yeah, I guess it's a kind of a multi-answer that I would have here for this question. So the importance of having students from North America and Northern Ireland is very important for us as an institution and also for Queen's. But being able to offer students from the US and Canada the opportunity to study here in Northern Ireland is pretty unique. It's a unique opportunity for them. They get to study a degree that's very focused. It's often a shorter duration, more affordable, but they get to come and study in somewhere where perhaps some of their friends and family know very little about. And that will help raise that awareness of Northern Ireland understanding, but also it raises those students' career and future prospects and opportunities. Additionally, for us as institutions, it helps bring in diversity. It brings in students from around the world, from across North America, from Canada, the US, and of course other places around the world. That brings in different cultures, different aspects, and then they get to experience everything else that Northern Ireland has to offer. So, we have our students from the US and Canada. They might do, say, Thanksgiving events, and then they'll invite some of our local students. So we might have a student, say, from, for example, Ballerina, that gets to experience a Thanksgiving dinner. So we're exposing our students from Northern Ireland to different cultures that we have in the US and Canada.
Yeah, that's a great answer. Thanks very much, Johnny. That's brilliant. I'd like to move to the students now, if that's okay. I know we didn't introduce Virginia properly at the very beginning. Virginia, would you mind just introducing yourself now? And then I'll ask you a question, if that's okay. Thank you.
Yeah, hi, I'm Virginia. I'm a third-year cinematic arts student at Ulster and McGee campus. And yeah, I'm from Waynesboro, Pennsylvania, and my full-time university is Ulster, so I've just been there for the past 3 years.
That's great. Okay, can I ask you a quick question first before we move on to somebody else? Can you tell us a bit more about your course and what it was that first inspired you to study in Northern Ireland?
Yeah, definitely. So my course is all about filmmaking, the science or the art of cinema, which I find very intriguing, and I liked it even before I went to school, so I just figured why not do it in somewhere unique and interesting like Northern Ireland, Derry specifically. And it's a very hands-on course, which is why I chose it, because it's very, I'm a very hands-on learner, so with lighting, cameras, sound, and all of that, it's very useful. And our lectures have a variety of very in-depth skill sets, so it's really nice to learn from them. And I thought that was a really good way to just go study film in a place that's just so cinematic.
Brilliant. Okay, thanks very much, Virginia. I was wondering if I can move on to Demi now. Demi, can you answer a similar question? So it's about, tell us a bit more about your course that you're studying, and also what it was that first inspired you to study in Northern Ireland.
Yeah, okay. So I'm doing the Juris Doctorate degree. I always kind of knew I wanted to go to law school. And as far as studying here, I wanted to do an internationally focused degree. I was always looking at maybe studying abroad when I got there. And that's kind of how the Queen's University Belfast search kind of came across. And I was like, oh, instead of only going for a year or 6 months or a summer or something like that, I could literally go live abroad for 3 years and kind of maybe launch myself a little bit better into that international sphere. So I think it was just kind of, I guess I chose the program, and then with kind of exactly what I wanted, it was kind of a good fit in that way. And then kind of slowly, as I've lived here over the past year or so, just kind of really fell in love with this side of the world.
I know, it's a magical place, isn't it, Demi? I agree with you. Okay, should we move to Daniel now and Nicola? Daniel, could you describe to us what it was like arriving in Northern Ireland, so that very first time as an international student, and what your first impressions were?
Yeah, so when I first got here, I mean, when I got here to study, that this was my second time to the country, but the first time was such a whirlwind trip. It was like over a weekend. And so when I kind of got here knowing that I was here to stay, not just for a trip, like I said in the video, it was kind of breathtaking, because you're driving through these streets just realizing like I'm gonna call this home for a while. And it forces you to kind of pay attention to everything a little bit more, and to get to know your way around the city, which I really enjoyed. And now most of the time, like if people need directions, I'll give directions to other people that are from here, whereas like someone who's grown up just down the road won't even know how to get around the city, and they kind of look at me with like, how do you know all this? It's like, well, you kind of appreciate it not being from here a little bit more.
Yeah. So. No, that's great. I think I'll come to you if I want advice and when I'm next in Northern Ireland, because you seem to be the person who knows everything. So I'll be definitely knocking on your door. Okay, that's great. Thanks, Daniel. And Nicola, similar question. What was it like when you arrived in Northern Ireland for that first time? And what were your impressions?
So I was very lucky. When I came for coming to Northern Ireland, I actually came over to do an interview first. So I came when I was still back in high school. And my very first impression was just everyone being so friendly. I know everyone says that, it's a very kind of tagline thing, but people will kind of just stop you in the streets and chat away to you, which I thought was really lovely. And as someone who comes from a really big city from Vancouver, it's really refreshing to have such a compact city, which I think that's probably the biggest impression I have. It's compact. You can basically walk wherever you really need. If you're just going into town, like downtown or something like that, taking the bus in is really simple and really straightforward. And like Daniel said, it's just really lovely. You get to see the mountains, and on a very clear day, it just looks amazing. So just my impression of Northern Ireland and being kind of anywhere throughout Northern Ireland was just really breathtaking.
That's great. Thanks, Nicola. I think that's the good thing with Belfast, isn't it? You're close to everything. So you're close to the, very nice compact city, and then you're very close to the countryside, the mountains, the sea, everything. So it's great. Thank you very much, all of you. Peter, Johnny, listening to our students there, in your experience, do their reflections match those of the wider international student population here in Northern Ireland? Peter, I don't know if you want to go first.
Sure. I mean, my words will never be as good as what the guys have said themselves, but it is the feedback we hear is that just Northern Ireland very quickly becomes home in a way that some other places don't. So, you can go to somewhere like London or New York, and they're great, they're wonderful cities, but you kind of feel a little bit anonymous, you're a little bit lost in the noise. Whereas you come to Northern Ireland, and very quickly you can just find yourself with this sense of belonging. And I think there's not many places that give that, and part of that is because of, as Nicola said, it's because of the people. People will welcome you into their lives, or they'll stop you on the street and they'll talk to you. And you might, if you're from a big city, that'll seem very strange that someone's just having a conversation with you about their day. But it's just kind of the way it is here, and we hear that a lot from international students. Is that a lot of them will come and they might be coming for a semester, they might be coming for a year, for 3 years, but by the end of it, they're like, maybe I should stick around for a while, because just the quality of life is there. So yeah, I think it's pretty reflective, but it's always best to hear it in their own words, I think.
No, I agree. I think that student perspective is so important, isn't it? I think actually hearing from a student tell that story is really key. Johnny, similar question. Do you think it really does match what our other international students are feeling about studying in Northern Ireland?
Yeah, I think everybody's going to have a similar type of experience in some sense, you know. So everybody's going to go and do some of the touristy stuff. Maybe go and see the Game of Thrones attractions. You know, come and see all the historical places and all, where there's all kind of legacy ties. You know, everyone's going to go and do that kind of stuff. But also, every student's going to have their own unique experience. So depending on how they structure their own student journey, is going to impact on what their experience is like. So, what will their course offer? Does their course include a placement year? So, will they have the opportunity to go and work in a particular organisation? Will they maybe go and travel? What if they join any sports teams? So will they make friends in those sports teams? Are they going to live in student accommodation? And who they live with, and exactly what everybody said, those students, the locals, the people that are from here that they get to know, is going to help shape their future. So everyone, I think, will have some similar experiences, but everyone's going to have a slightly different journey, different pathway, and they'll be able to give their own unique stories about their experiences here.
Thanks, Johnny. That's great. Thank you. I'd like to move into a bit more of an open discussion now, if that's okay with everyone. Demi, I hope you don't mind if I just start with you. So one of the first questions I'd really like to know is, did you have any preconceived ideas of Northern Ireland before you came here, and were they true?
I think I really came in blind. I think I'm kind of one of those people that I don't really want to go to a place. Like I figured out some of the basics that I kind of needed to know. But I wanted to come, I wanted to experience it myself, rather than going off of blogs or maybe what other people had kind of said. Because, you know, you always have to be careful about what lens that you're looking through. And honestly, I think it's better than anybody probably could have ever described. I think, you know, some people are like, oh, Belfast, you know, dare I say, you know, the troubles. But, you know, it's kind of like, unfortunately, that's kind of what this place is known for. And it does kind of overshadow things sometimes. But honestly, you're out and about, you're really not thinking about anything. It's really wonderful to kind of be around, meet people. It's like, I kind of describe it as, it's kind of a big city for like this area, or kind of, you know, this island kind of thing. But it really has a small town feel, which to me, it feels like home because I'm from a small town. So I don't know if that really answers your question, but I came in, didn't really have any notions, but yeah.
I think that's quite a refreshing approach to take, Demi, isn't it? Not have any preconceived ideas. Just, you know, enjoy the experience as it happens. So no, that's great. Daniel, I was just wondering what it was about living and studying in Northern Ireland that appealed to you more than perhaps other parts of the UK, or perhaps even in your own home country.
Well, for myself, I'm an older student. I didn't start my undergrad until I was already 32. So I wanted to make sure that I was going to be happy where I was going. I had tried school in the States, and it just never felt like it was right for me. So I did a lot of research, which brought me back to here. One big thing was the cost of living. That, and kind of like Demi said, it is a big city for the island, but it's really small at the same time. Saying that though, like, you'll still, I mean, I've been here over 3 years, and I had a new experience just last night going to a different part of town I had not seen. I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. But yeah, it's just, you get to know people so easily here, and I don't know, you just kind of fall into place very easily, which I know that kind of strays from the question as to why I came here, but that's why I've decided to continue my education here as well, because it's just a great place to be, honestly. Like, I have days, I'll have bad days, then I walk out and I see, like, Belfast, and it's like, I live here. This is life, like, and it brings me down.
Good. Okay, thanks very much, Daniel. Nicola, I wonder if I could just ask you the same question. What was it about living and studying in Northern Ireland that appealed to you? I don't know if you thought about any other places in the UK.
Yeah, so the biggest appeal is, which I mentioned kind of earlier in the other question, was the fact that it was compact. It was kind of that lovely in between of you get a city lifestyle, but equally you still know everyone. There's don't know if any people watching would know, but basically oftentimes you would see people on the street and you're saying, oh yeah, that's my friend's sister's cousin or something like that. So you kind of recognize each other, and I quite like that. And then I did consider actually going to London to also study, and the south of England to study as well. And for some reason, when I visited those places, it seemed almost overly industrialized, or it didn't seem like at the time. I mean, I moved over to Northern Ireland when I was 18, and just at that time, it didn't really pique my interest. The beauty of Northern Ireland and Belfast especially is you do have quite old buildings kind of about, and as someone who came from a big city which is quite modernized, it's just nice to see kind of old buildings, and I think that was a really big deal for me.
Okay, that's great. Thank you very much. Can I just ask you another question, just an additional question? In terms of the academic experience that you've obviously had or having as well, is there anything in particular you gained from studying in Northern Ireland that you wouldn't get anywhere else? So perhaps an area of expertise or something?
Yeah, absolutely. So my experience is mostly with the medicine program, I would say, compared to, at the very least, North America, because I have a few friends now going into medicine, is first of all, you get to enter it at a young age. So if you're very confident about what you want to do, you can enter medicine at 17 or 18. And the really lovely thing about coming to Northern Ireland is that they actually put you into kind of clinical placements. You're actually out into maybe a family practice, and not necessarily trying to give medicines, but building up a rapport and communicating with patients, just getting comfortable with that. I think coming over, I was fairly confident and fairly sociable, but the idea of speaking to a patient who's a lot more older than me, who's from a different country, and maybe there is that maybe slight language barrier in the sense that maybe I don't understand their accent and they won't understand my accent. I think that's such an invaluable experience that I've gained, and it's really good with Northern Ireland because there is all the hospitals offered in Northern Ireland. You're the only person and only medical student. You're not fighting with other universities to try to get that clinical experience.
Brilliant. Okay, thank you very much for that. That was really interesting. Virginia, I'm going to put you on the spot now. So any advice you'd give to prospective students wishing to study here? Is there any, say you had to give them 2 tips, what would you say to them?
I'd have to say probably a good 2 tips is, one, to be open and just accepting of a lot of different, whether it be like when you're at a pub or you're at a bar and somebody is like older than you, and like just an older man just coming up and saying, or an older couple, you know, they're all very, very welcoming, very fun people to be around. And I'd have to say that just being open to those experiences and those conversations is just one of the big things. I mean, with going international in general, but the people here, like they've said before, are just very welcoming. They're very social type of exciting people, and they're fun to be around. Another, I guess, tip number 2 would probably just be, just, you know, I mean, I always say is just do it, because, you know, Northern Ireland in general is a beautiful place, and there's only a chance that you guys get that once in a lifetime in your life, and it's just nice when you can get out and see a different part of the world and a different part of the country, and as well as go to school there, maybe work there, but it's always a great time, and you always meet the most wonderful people, and I'm happy to say that I've found my family there, and I hope that you guys are able to as well.
That's lovely. Thank you, Virginia. Have you done much exploring since you arrived?
Yeah, I've been down to obviously the cool ones, the Donegal, great cliffs, a lot of the areas where Game of Thrones have been shot, like Temple, and then there's some parts where Star Wars has been shot. Those are cool. Up in Malin Head, and then obviously Belfast, down in Armagh. Derry around obviously has an amazing history, so the walls and all. Some parts of the south, I just kind of go on drives with my friends, and it's just a good time. So I'm very thankful for what I've been able to do.
Great, thanks very much, Virginia. Demi, I'm going to ask you the same question if that's okay. Have you got any advice that you would give to prospective students? So there might be a few people in the audience today who are thinking about studying in Northern Ireland. What advice would you give them?
Yeah, I think kind of like everybody has highlighted, I think don't get stuck in the city. Because I don't know why it took me about a month and a half after I moved here to kind of get out and start exploring. I think Belfast was a bit like it was fun and like going to like the pubs and just exploring, you know, the city center alone. But literally from here you can get on a train and I think it's like 20 minutes to a half an hour out to Helen's Bay, and you can just go be by the ocean. There's a great walking trail that you can then walk up into Bangor, or you know, start in Bangor and come kind of back this way. So like that's a really super easy kind of day trip. And then if you're feeling a bit more adventurous, like getting up into Portrush and things like that. But the train, it's a lot of fun. So like that would be kind of my number one top tip is like, don't be afraid to explore. Don't kind of get sucked into just this little area. My second thing is, if there's anything from home that you cannot live without, make sure it's in your bag. I made the mistake of only bringing, I think, 1 box of Cheez-Its, and it's my number 1 favorite snack from the US. And I came over during 2020, so I was kind of quarantining for those first 2 weeks, and I ate my entire box, my 1 box, you know, I think in the first 2 days. So I was a bit sad about that. So I guess those are kind of my 2 things: is get out, explore, and if there's something that you just cannot live without, make sure you bring it along.
Oh, that's a great tip, Demi. Yes, definitely pack your suitcases up with all your favourite items. I think you can get some things here, but I don't think you can get everything. So that's great. Thanks very much, Demi. And Daniel, I don't know if you've just got any advice, perhaps one just thing that you would do.
I guess my one bit of advice is like any preconceived notions you have of anything here, I guess, just show up here open-minded. Think about like if you hear other people talking about your home in a negative light, like you want to show them that it's not all negative, like what they see on social media or the news is wrong. So just, yeah, show up here open-minded, ready, I don't know, to just listen. Sometimes that's been my favorite moments, is just sitting and listening to people's stories.
Good. No, I think that's really good, that, Daniel. I think it's a good approach to take. Okay, I'm going to go to some pre-shared audience questions now, if that's okay for everybody. And thank you very much to everybody who sent in questions. We do really appreciate it because it means that we are answering the questions that you want to hear. So I'm going to go straight to Peter, if that's okay. The first question I was going to ask you is, what are the testing admission requirements for international students, and probably particularly those from North America?
Yeah, no problem. I think an important thing to say on this is it will vary depending on, you know, the program you're looking to study. So if you're going up for a particular undergraduate major, for a particular graduate program, it will vary a little bit, and it will also vary between universities. But all of this stuff is on each university website, so on the Queen's website and on the University of Ulster website. In general, though, at undergrad level, Queen's, we typically look for a number of APs, usually 2 or 3 APs, or possibly those in conjunction with maybe an SAT test or an honours class or a dual enrollment class for students from the US. For students from Canada at undergraduate level, it's usually good performance across grade 12 courses. At graduate level, from the US, it's typically a 3.2 cumulative GPA, and I think it's a 3.0 from a Canadian university degree as well. But again, it does vary. Jump on the website though, there are specific pages for both US and Canadian students on the Queen's website, as I'm sure there are on Ulster's, and that will detail it. We're very transparent with our entry requirements here, and I think that's something that is a big cultural difference between particularly US universities, but Canadian universities a bit as well, in that we will tell you exactly what you need to get in. It does tend to be about academic ability and academic potential rather than all the other more holistic things that a US or Canadian college might look for. So that is the big thing. Just ask us. We're here. We'll tell you exactly what you need to get in and try and make it as straightforward as possible.
I think that is really good advice. It's something that I say on Study UK all the time, Peter. Always go back to your institution. They're the ones with the expertise and they're the ones who can provide you the right advice. So thank you for that. John, I'm going to just move to you, if that's okay. Does either university, well, does Ulster University, should we start with that one? Does Ulster University offer scholarships to students from North America?
Yeah, I guess I don't want to comment on Queen's because Peter will be able to give
I'll let Peter
a much better response for that. But yeah, absolutely. We offer a guaranteed scholarship of £2,000 for every student from North America. And then we have a number of different scholarships that we're involved in. Some of them can be semester scholarships, so the students come and doing a semester abroad. And then our largest scholarship for postgraduate study is our John J. Sweeney Scholarship, which is worth $20,000 US. It's quite bespoke, that, and it's for some very specific programs, mostly related to peace, conflict, social policy, and law programs, all at master's level. So yeah, have quite a few specialist in unique scholarships for students from the US and Canada. Additionally, sorry, just on another note, just that in addition to scholarships, we also are able to accept US and Canadian funding as well, and Peter will be fairly similar to.
Brilliant. Okay, thanks for clarifying that. I'm going to whiz back quickly to Peter. Do you offer any scholarships as well? We do, yeah. There will be scholarships for the vast majority of international students, looking at a minimum of in around 10% of tuition fees up to a maximum of about 50%. One thing that is worth pointing out is that both universities and the majority of universities across the UK are public institutions, so we're not for-profit colleges. As a result, tuition fees are a little bit lower, but also it means that scholarship and sort of financial aids aren't quite as high as you might expect. So there'll not be any sort of full ride scholarships, things like that here. But Johnny made a very good point in that both universities accept US and Canadian federal aid as well. So students who are using student loans to fund their studies at home can do that in Northern Ireland, and I think that's something that maybe gets missed a lot. But again, university websites will have all the scholarship funding. At Queen's, we do also have a number of external scholarships, so national programs, the likes of the Marshall Programme, the Mitchell Commission, which offer scholarships to students from across the US and Canada. Those are applicable at Queen's as well. That's great, thanks Peter. And I hope you don't mind while I've still got you. Are there any courses, programmes that students should be aware of? I don't think there's anything new that's coming up. All of them. All of them is going to be my answer. I mean, at Queen's, we offer about 200 different bachelor's programmes. I think one good point is one that Nicola made, is that there are some programmes that you can do direct entry at undergraduate level here that you can't maybe do in the US and Canada, particularly medicine, dentistry and law and architecture, which are all direct entry at undergraduate level, and that's very different from the model on the other side of the pond. But yeah, loads of them. Yeah, that's a good advantage, isn't it, of studying, that direct entry, which I think Nicola raised a really good point. Okay, I'm going to just ask a couple of the students actually, what was the biggest challenge for international students studying in Northern Ireland? I mean, I know you've all talked about the advantages of studying and the benefits and what a great time you're all having, but have there been any challenges? Demi, I don't know if you've encountered anything.
Yeah, I think honestly it just goes down to teaching philosophy. It's actually something that my friends from here and kind of some of my friends from the States, we've talked about a lot. I think compared to the US is very structured. So obviously that's where I did K through 12. I did my undergraduate degree there. And it was very structured. You're constantly tested on material, things like that. And I think this is also very program based, so take this with a grain of salt. But here it's all about very self-driven learning, no matter what level you're at. It's very much learning for the sake of learning. So, you maybe have like required readings on your syllabus, but you're not going to have maybe like a weekly check-in. You're not necessarily going to be doing those discussion questions, things like that. It's very much on your own kind of learning. So I think that was kind of my biggest challenge, is really adapting to that more open-ended style of learning. And that's kind of how maybe some of my other fellow American friends kind of felt as well.
I think that's a really valid point, Demi. I think it is that independent learning. I think that we expect in the UK, Northern Ireland. I think it's very much that you have to almost direct yourself. But I think it's really important that people understand that. So thank you for that. Just before we move on to the live audience questions, Virginia, can I ask you a quick question? I think we've all answered this actually, but it'd be good just to check in. Have you found the people in Northern Ireland welcoming? I think you said that anyhow, and did they help to make the transition to life here easier?
Definitely, yeah. I think that the people here are just so welcoming and so open arms type welcoming, if that makes sense.
It does.
So for an example, I obviously have been here for 3 years, and each time I have a Thanksgiving dinner for all my friends, and this year I was able to have it in one of our local bars, which was really exciting, which is in their like little event room, and I had like 17 of my friends over, and we all just had a good time. But it was just a really I guess another way of saying like, wow, like these are the people that I have been with for the past 3 years, and these are the people that are just so nice to me, and it's just so easy to fit in, really, even as much as you think, oh, maybe what if I don't know? You don't really feel the what ifs, because everyone just is like, oh my gosh, you have an accent, that's crazy, where are you from, type thing. Which is just it's a lot of fun. It's a good time, and I couldn't have picked a better place to meet the best people.
Oh, brilliant. Okay, thanks very much, Virginia. We're going to go to the live questions now. Johnny, I'm going to come to you first, if that's okay. One of the students has said that they've heard that the capital Belfast has recently been awarded UNESCO City of Music. Does Belfast have a good music scene? I might even go to one of the students as well, because I think Nicola's nodding her head. But I'll start with you, Johnny, if that's okay.
Yeah, you're probably better off going to maybe some of the younger folks that might be more into going out to music scenes. But yeah, absolutely. Belfast was awarded the grand title of the UNESCO City of Music, which is brilliant. The city is buzzing with live events, whether it be from jazz through to pop, live festivals, DJs, and so on. That's in the pubs, the bars, and so on. But there's also music festivals. We have Belsonic in Belfast in the Olmo Park, which is a big outdoor music festival in the summer. Up in Derry and around Northern Ireland, there's major music festivals ranging from jazz right through to dance music and so on. But as I say, you might be better off speaking to perhaps somebody who might go out a little bit more than I do to some music.
Do any of the students want to answer that? I will be open for suggestions. Daniel, you look as though somebody who would enjoy the good music scene in Belfast.
No, there's quite a few good shows. Like any genre, really, you can almost guarantee you'll find some sort of venue, whether it be big or small, like doing something on the weekend or even sometimes during the weekdays. Like one of my favorite venues to go to is Voodoo or Limelight. But I mean, there's so many different options. Unfortunately, like a lot of the shows I was planning on going to in the past were canceled. But I'm looking forward to quite a few other shows, and yeah, and loads of people who are just ready to. If you're into playing music, like actually playing instruments and everything, you can find people that just want to sit and jam, and I love it.
Yeah, no, that's great. I do recognise those Limelight and Voodoo only because my daughter's in Belfast studying. So she mentions those, so I'm sure she's enjoyed that scene as well. So that's great. Can I just ask you a quick question just before I move on from you, Daniel? Can you really surf in Northern Ireland? Because I know that was part of the video. And somebody's asked, can you actually surf? I think it was...
Yeah, no, you definitely can. Unfortunately, that's like my only time. I've been surfing since I've been here. It's something I've wanted to do since I got here, but I've studied out a lot of the beaches. Donegal's really not that far away either, and you've got the likes of Malin Head over there where like the surf is massive. Just look up the videos on YouTube and you can find some up-to-date videos of like just these huge breaks and everything. So yeah, you can do any outdoor activity here, like surfing, mountain biking, rock climbing. You just have to go out and meet the people.
Good. Okay, thanks very much, Daniel. And Nicola, would you mind if I ask you a question? We've had a question specifically for you. So where will you be during your residency, and in which countries will you be able to practice medicine? I hope that makes sense to you, because I'm not a medic, so.
Yeah, so I mean, that's quite a funny question, because of course my family in Canada, they're like, you have to come back to Canada to do residency. So I know absolutely for sure, if you're from North America and you want to come back to do your residency, it's absolutely possible. You just have to be really on top of it. So in the course is 5 years long. So in your 3rd and 4th year, you have to start basically doing the entrance exam. So I know for America, I have a few friends, there's like, I think it's quite a long exam, but there's a written exam and then there's a practical exam. If you want to go back to America or Canada to do your residency, absolutely possible. For myself, I enjoy being in the UK, so I'm actually considering maybe doing my residency in Northern Ireland or somewhere else in the UK, but of course Canada has to be on the list or else my family would be very upset. And then which countries will you be able to practice medicine? So basically once you do, it's a bit weird, but basically after your 5 years, that's your residency. So if you do your residency here in the UK, you get a GMC number, which is your General Medical Council number, which means you can basically practice in the UK. But because it's the UK, that's the lovely thing about going to university in Northern Ireland, is you're counted within that. You can basically go everywhere. So for myself in Canada, because we have connections with the UK, it's very easy for me to come back here. I know there's places, for example, India, it's really easy for them to go back. And again, the UK is recognized in America as well. So going back home for yourself after you've graduated and maybe done residency in the UK is absolutely possible. You just have to be on top of it. And I just recommend you researching, but also it's years away. So just enjoy your university life first.
That's brilliant. Thank you, Nicola. I think you made a valid point there. I think it is all about research and really understanding what you're going to be doing. So thank you for that. And Virginia, if I can just turn to you, what do you consider the most significant or advantages or disadvantages, whichever way you look at it, of studying in Northern Ireland versus the US? So what are those comparisons?
I think definitely an advantage is that you really, living on your own in a different country, you really get a sort of sense of independence and confidence that you might not get living in the US where you're from, or maybe like 2 hours, 3 hours from your hometown type of thing. I think that that's a really big advantage that people don't think of at first. I surely didn't think of it first. I mean, of course, there's a disadvantage of not seeing your family on the weekends or maybe being there for birthdays and stuff. But now in this day and age, especially with COVID, that has changed with FaceTiming and being able to be with people electronically. But I think that one of the really big advantages that has came out for me in the past couple of years is just the independence and the confidence that I've gotten from living in such a fun country and a good, just such a good experience that I know that, who knows, maybe I'll stay for the next couple of years. I'm not sure, but going to graduate this May is going to be fun, yet who knows, maybe I'll just do some film for the BBC, I don't know, but I love every part of each experience that I've gained, and I think that those types of things, missing your family, you can always, visit them for Christmas. I mean, that's where I am. I'm home at the minute, but yeah, it's just one of those things that you just kind of keep moving and you just kind of keep going. That's what I've learned so far, and I can't wait to continue learning.
Good. Okay, thanks very much, Virginia. And just for the final question from the audience, what was one of the biggest adjustments you had to make, Demi, when you came here? Can you think of what the biggest adjustment you made? Okay, Demi, unfortunately, I think you're just breaking up slightly there. Okay.
Sorry.
Go on. Do you want us to go again? Sorry. No. Okay, I think we've lost it. I don't know if you want to just chip in there, Daniel. I don't know if what was one of the biggest adjustments you had to make.
I don't actually know. I guess just getting used to the constant jokes, trying to discern, the difference between whether or not someone's I guess simple American term, pulling your leg or anything like that. But that's kind of like in my mind, that's like a term of endearment. People joke with you because they know that you can take it, and you just learn to kind of fire it back. That would be the biggest thing, really. Other than that, it's been, I don't know, it's been pretty easy to fall where I'm currently at now.
Well, that's great. I think that's quite an honest answer. I think especially in Northern Ireland and in Ireland generally, but I think we do like to have a joke in the UK. So yeah, I think if somebody's pulling you like Daniel, I think it's a good sign. So that's great. I think we're close to wrapping up now, if that's okay with everybody. I'm just really like just to quickly go around the students again and just give me one sentence summing up your experience of studying in Northern Ireland. I'm going to start with you, Nicola.
Yeah, so summing up my experience, it's been a fantastic experience of just a lot of personal growth, finding out what kind of suits me best, and being able to explore both kind of the city and also the natural attractions of Northern Ireland. And I really do believe I've made friends for life in Northern Ireland, and wherever I go in the future, I know for sure I'll be back visiting. And I just can't wait to see what the next couple of years brings me if I choose to stay in Northern Ireland.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. And Virginia, one sentence summing up your experience.
I would have to say my experience, like Nicola said, it's been personal growth, a lot of personal growth there. Just be able to, have that hands-on learning that Ulster has provided, especially with camera lighting, sound, all that kind of stuff. That has made me more inset and more excited to see where I can go for my future. All that kind of stuff has just really made me love and be able to understand that I will be back visiting no matter what with the people that I've been with for the past 3 years. So it's just been a good time, and I can't wait to see, like Nicola said, what the future holds. So who knows?
No, that's brilliant. Okay, thanks very much, Virginia. Daniel, you've got one sentence to sum up your experience.
I'd say life-changing. I mean, this is something I wanted to do since I was a kid, and discovered there were places outside my own backyard. And I'm gonna, once I finish my degree, I'm gonna do what I can to kind of to stay here. I know there's a few graduate routes that I'm gonna look down, and yeah, it's just been life-changing. It's been better than expected.
That's brilliant. Yeah, you must definitely explore all those graduate routes. There's lots to explore, and I think it's important that you get the most out of your experience. So good luck with that. And Demi, I'm not sure what your connection's like now, but do you have one sentence that sums up your experience as well?
I would definitely say it's actually been challenging. Like I said, I entered during COVID, September 2020, and I think it's really taught me patience and kind of just taking everything one step at a time, and just really kind of embracing where life is at. So kind of just a lot of lessons, a lot of challenges, but I am very grateful that I came over to this side of the world when I did, and think I've kind of found my new little international home.
That's brilliant. Good. Are you all at home now, or are you still in Belfast, Northern Ireland, or have you gone home? I know Virginia's back for Christmas, isn't she? Yeah. Okay.
I'm still in Belfast. I'm actually not going to go home for the holidays. I'm just going to be here. Actually, my family's coming to me, so that's kind of fun.
Oh, that's lovely. Oh, well, you can show them around now, Northern Ireland, and they'll fall in love with it as well, I'm sure. Daniel, are you here for the Christmas holidays?
Yeah, I am. I haven't been home since 2019. I probably won't be home until end of next year, most likely. So they're used to me living away at this point. So.
Well, enjoy your Christmas break. I'm sure you deserve it. And Nicola, are you here for Christmas or are you going home?
I'm very lucky. I actually landed in Canada 2 days ago. It's my first time back in years. But I've spent the past few Christmases in Northern Ireland and in Belfast, and absolutely recommend it. It's just nice to, be home to see family since it's been a while, but absolutely recommend staying in Northern Ireland for Christmas as well.
Good. Okay. Right. Well, thank you everybody for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed the event. It would be great to carry on this conversation on social media. So just use the hashtag, I think it's been put into the chat, but it's Study in Northern Ireland. And we'll be sending around a recording of today's event to all of you soon. So please watch out for that and you can go back over the recording and listen to the answers in a bit more detail. And we'll also include answers in that email to some of the questions we didn't get time to answer or explore today. So in the next day or so, you'll receive an email with a link to our feedback form. Please do complete that feedback form. We would really love to hear your views. And if there's anything that we're doing in the future, we will let you know. And again, thank you so much to my panel. They've just been great. And listening to that student experience, I don't think we can ask for any more. And thank you to Peter and Johnny. Brilliant. It was great to hear about Ulster and Queen's. So thank you both very much for your time today. And again, to our audience, thank you for joining.